Hello and welcome to another session of Godbound. And this is a game written by Kevin Crawford, who has also written the fantasy game Worlds Without Number, and who just started a Kickstarter. If you don't have a copy of Stars Without Number, now you can get an offset print copy of that. That is the new Kickstarter from his group. This is an OSR adjacent game of divinities. And this is mid-session, so I'm not going to go too much further on that because you probably watched one of the other ones where I've given a better explanation of things. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. We have some lines and veils, safety tools on the table. We've gone over those just so everybody remembers that we have those. We are at the Assassin's Library. You have secured control of the Assassin's Library. You have, in some ways, reorganized how they're going to do things. And you're talking about new ways that you're going to put things into play, how you want to handle that. You have one of the agents, one of the masks, you were able to capture gravely wounded but alive and pissing mad. And you have one of the masks as well. And certainly with this changeover, if you wanted to bring up the people that are on your boat up here to essentially give them better quarters or whatnot, we can assume that those things have been done. But let's take up maybe a day or two after that ball, where things are getting kind of reorganized around here, to see the four of you, and we can talk meta, we can talk in character about how you want to invest things. Influence, as you may recall, is given and can be taken back. It's temporary. It stays in a place as kind of long as you, from time to time, go to visit to maintain it. So it's not like you have to concentrate on it, but it's something that can be kept up. Dominion, those points that you have, those represent you using your skills, abilities, contacts, all of that to make a permanent change, to change a fact about the world. And depending on the number of points that are pooled together and invested, represents sort of the size of an area that you can affect. And just let me go over scale for you, just so you know what that kind of means. Here, let me get that page that has those. So a village would be a point. Village is a point to create that effect. A city, even a major city, like even up to 100,000 people, is just 2 points. A region, say a whole province or 1,000 square miles, 1 million people, is 4 points. To affect a large kingdom is 8. To affect everything is 16.
So the four of us together could affect everything?
Yes. If you were to pool all of your influence together.
For one fact.
You could change one fact about the world.
Very subtle fact.
Subtle or not subtle?
So there is a certain amount of that base cost. Things that are plausible are that base cost. Things that change things significantly will double or perhaps even triple that cost. That's the base thing. So triple would be a lot. Be if you're doing something absolutely absurd. But improbable is double the cost. So if you wanted to make an improbable change on a city, that would cost you 4 points. So captain, my captain, what what space have you commandeered for your group?
Like for my crew or for all of us?
I mean, like the four of you, like you've taken charge in this library. Like, what kind of space do you think you've gone and found that you've made yours and your groups?
I admit I want something that is kind of up on a tower, preferably with a balcony looking out towards the town and the harbor beyond.
Okay. And maybe even we have like it's a room with maps and a map room and a big round table and that kind of thing. So we're in this space there. Food has been brought for you. Any records or anything like that has been carefully set there for you. They are waiting hand and foot, not because they're scared, but because you seem to be making a positive change in this place. So, Captain, what are you thinking?
Well, first I want to ask on a meta question here.
Sure.
How much wealth did we get when we did our initial trade? Because something I would like to do is make the ship a shrine.
Oh, that's a good point.
I would need 3 wealth to do that.
I think that given that you didn't have a lot of other expenses, that you could do that. I think you'd certainly have enough wealth for that.
Nice. Then that is something that I am kind of wanting to get the work done on. I imagine that will take craftsmen and that sort of thing to, I don't know, all the most delicate mustards and ketchups for my crew and all that sort of lovely thing.
But so here is the question: is it a shrine to you, or is it a shrine to your pantheon?
Ooh, can we make group shrines like that?
I think we've always done it that you can sanctify a shrine to an individual, or you can sanctify it to all of you, but then you all kind of share in the authority and control over it. So I don't know how much you want to give your ship away.
Yeah, I sort of would feel more like the ship would be a shrine to me.
Fair enough. What does that look like? What does a shrine to you look like? It's a question I'm not asked in an RPG before, I think.
I very much the ideal of Ransom is that, freedom and going forth to look and explore and discover things. So I think that there is a lot of, like, the carving that is done into it has this sort of far-looking horizon. I think that, of course, there's a bird motif in the higher areas, and then along the hall is more of the sea motif and sea creatures. And I'm kind of I want to lay out a new style for my sails.
Okay.
Doing it in a kind of that gold wing set. The Elves of Warhammer, you can see their ships often have that, where they have them kind of off to either side as extra sail set.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's certainly something that you can do.
Is your ship bigger now, or is it still the smaller one?
I think it's still that sloop of war, which is, I don't see us upgrading to a much bigger ship or a need for it. And, that'll hold. We can sail it with few, but it can hold 100 to 120 people if we needed to. I don't think we're a world that's big on, we're not gunpowder. Well, we are a little gunpowdery, but not probably cannons on ships and stuff like that.
No. The only firearms things are that some lost black part of art like you have, and probably any cannons and things like that would be magical in nature.
Right. So we don't need the size that a ship would need for artillery. We could probably stick a ballista or something on it, but my bet is we go in rushing forward and then personally do nasty things to people. We're really devastating. We're a boarding sort of group. And I like the speed. The sloop has good speed, and that would be, if I'm going to push anything, is making it faster.
Certainly. Threadless, you are a builder, a maker, and so on. Like, what are you saying in this discussion? What are you pushing for? What is on your agenda? Let's start from there.
I mean, there's a kabillion things that I want to do, but I think the first thing is that the accessibility of the library resources, like, exponentially increases. So those systems are what the first power goes into.
What do you mean by that? So that anybody can come and get this, or that
No,
it's easier
what I
for you
mean
to
is
access?
that for their staff and those things, it is easier for them to get to the things that they have. Their collation and compilation is easier, and I want to say, essentially, she creates machine and system to make that all of those books known and to be found, easier to annotate and retrieve. So it would be a system of, essentially the kids can get around faster. She brings some of the parts of the library together. She fixes some of the pathing between different things, just those things, and then make sure that they're maintained and that they're slowly, improving themselves as they go.
So that definitely feels like the word of artifice.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do that by investing a couple points of influence, or a couple points of dominion, or some mix?
I think this is the one that I want dominion with.
Okay.
So, I just want it to become part of this place. So
Okay.
I think that's what you use dominion for, right?
Yep. So how do you want to describe that fact? Like, how do you want to say it?
Systematized library.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Write that in on the fact, and with 2 points, it will affect the whole of the library.
Where do we write those?
Facts, I believe that. I thought there was a thing for them.
Is it in on my character sheet, or is it?
Oh yes, it is. It is your character sheet. It's actually there's line 22-23 is the start of the facts list.
So these facts that are okay.
So these are facts that you write down for yourself, but they're facts that affect the world. So, or the city. So under the gray space there, or whatever color you have for it, essentially write what's being affected. So you would write there in R29, you'd write Assassin's Library, and then you would write Systemized Library in the other part.
Okay.
Professor Evedro, what are you thinking?
So glad you asked me. If it's okay with Threadless, I would like to sort of build a communications system on top of the systematized library, and that at the center there's sort of like a learning annex. I'm basically going to create a school because I keep getting kicked out of schools. So I'm just going to build my own so that I don't get kicked out.
So is this one that'll be within the library or outside of the library so that they can maintain the protections that
that's a good call. Yeah, maybe I build it outside the library, but like adjacent to it. in a very in sort of like a what would look like a greenhouse from the outside, like lets a lot of sun in. And it I mean, part of it is a shrine. It is. What can I say? But I also feel like it kind of connects up with the library a little bit. So like there's so the students have some access to the knowledge within.
So perhaps, given that threadless is the word of artifice, perhaps if she cleaves off a portion of these stuck together libraries to separate it, since these are, sort of magically joined together, she could create a multi-level space that could be accessed independently but connect up with the library.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean,
that would be an interesting puzzle.
Thank you. I would like to use my Dominion for it. However, like I don't want her to
absolutely
threadless to spend any more Dominion.
But you let me build it, right?
I grant you the Dominion so that
Yay!
Yes.
Off I go. I'll be back in an hour. No,
so this is essentially creating. So you are starting a school here.
I am.
I think that's a smaller thing. So it's the size probably of a village for the moment. So that's one Dominion. And I think the way this starts is you've got a group of scholars here already who are out front working on things and are, coming in for things. And if you promise them access to the library, then you can draw on the several dozen people, students and scholars and so on from down there, and they will be glad to organize. They're scholars. They like a hierarchy,
right?
And you know from hierarchy,
right?
So yeah.
And I feel like the more they teach, the more we grant them access to the library. So there's sort of an exchange there. And from what I know about university admissions systems, I might need a whole point of Dominion just to set up that. But
yeah, I think right now the first fact is the existence of this place.
Yeah.
And then eventually another fact that you can do is essentially is world renowned or things like that. Like that's a thing that will affect this, and a fact that people, when they hear about it, they will think positively of it.
Putting my old universities to shame would give me so much pleasure.
So yeah, one Dominion, it is, as you say, you find a space that has light and air and maybe that kind of old greenhouse at the top that is broken down that Threadless can repair and make into an area up there. And yeah, you can spend the next chunk of time, the next weeks, working on this, getting this set. Tassos, what are you putting your mind to?
So, I sort of have, like, on a meta level, like 3 things I'm interested in, and I feel like they can touch each other, but I'm not quite sure how. So one is I do want to like empower that tribe of cats.
Okay.
Through my fear word. I think it would be interesting to set them up as a new order of assassins that people come to and pay or beseech them to hunt and kill metaphysical manifestations of people's fears.
So basically, they are going in and hunting people's nightmares down?
Sorry, my computer froze for a second there.
So basically, they are hunting people's nightmares down?
Yeah. Phobias, nightmares, terrors, not like world-changing things because they're still just little cats, but like people's personal fears. They could, strange manifestations of those. And cats love hunting down and killing weird things like that.
So I think that it's 1 point for the number, but I do think to empower them and gift them and so on seems a little on the esoteric side, shall we say? But I think 2 points would get you an order of nightmare hunting cats.
Nice. The other thing is there is this screaming undead lady night road thing.
Yes.
That both Patrick and Tassos don't understand much more than the word night road. But I would like to explore, interact with, change, use in some way that thingamajigger, understand. That would be a good one. And I also am interested in a shrine. And I feel like somehow all three of these things can touch. But I think the main blockage is I don't really understand what a night road is and what we could do with it, how we can.
A night road is a gate to hell. Okay. It is a gate to the forces of chaos and destruction that lie outside that are waiting to burst through into this world.
Okay,
it is a boil or a fissure in reality leading to destruction.
And it's burst through to consume the world.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Okay, so that's a different sort of hell, because thinking in a mythological standpoint, a doorway to hell is not necessarily a bad thing. That's just where dead people go.
Yeah,
but this is a bad chaos dimension thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I think I am interested in exploring, perhaps freeing that woman, whatever she is down there. But ultimately, I think a shrine and a dedicated order of cats who are like tasked with keeping watch over and keeping this thing closed and keeping insane idiots from kicking random strangers down the well just to see what happens.
I think that's
all
perfect.
Might work together.
Yeah. So I think setting up a shrine there is a matter of wealth and a diversion of some of the cats to that. But you have to tell me, and I ask this both for the order of the nightmare hunting cats and for your priestly cats, how are they marked out? Do they have a cute little uniform? Or what? Like,
They're these all white cats, and I don't want to change that because
right.
They're here because of a phobia, and that's sort of their origin story. So I don't want to negate that. So yeah, they obviously have to have little like feline starlight cloaks that they put on for official culting.
Absolutely. Little gossamer starlight cloaks, perhaps with even a hood that they can pull up so they can look sinister or not, or pull it back to reveal themselves. All right, so that's 2 Dominion, and then assuming most of your ready wealth goes to setting up this shrine. And we'll come back to the freeing of the undead goddess later, because it's a whole nother thing.
We'll just put a pin in that.
We'll put a pin in the undead goddess.
Yeah, there's a quest.
All right, Tyler, we return to you, Ransom, aka Boda.
Oh yes, I need to rename. Sorry.
That's okay.
I would be interested in maybe spending some Dominion on the town to try to. It sounds like a societal change would be what I'm looking for here. And the idea being that this is a free city when people come here. It is to trade. We don't fight when we come into the environs. It is kind of a home for the freebooters of the sea and that sort of thing. So
you're kind of deepening and spreading its already existing reputation. That seems like a dominion, but you're going to have to go and talk to the alligators.
Ooh, all right.
Because they're in charge down there.
Oh, okay.
And so that's what the assassins will tell you. And they will say, go back and talk to Hosk and tell him to take you to the mayor.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, I certainly will.
And so we get a scene. You've headed back down. There's a lot of like people in town don't know exactly what's going on, but that things are changing. Like more people are being let in, and like the staff people that were out in kind of the staff village are being given more access, and the building's kind of changing, and they know there was some sort of fight and stuff. So this is over the next few weeks that goes on. Some of the pirates who were there before are still there and around, or have gone and come back, and we have their pictures in there. But you go to talk to Hosk, and he'll be like, "All right," and he already described that there was the upper decking of the village and then kind of the underdecking. He'll walk you down to that underdecking, and as soon as you kind of come there, like crocodiles, alligators, and I'm going to use crocodile and alligator interchangeably, just because that's me. But they will come over because you're not from here, and so they're expecting you to be dumb and get in the water and maybe do something like that. But Hosk will go over and speak to one of them, and it'll kind of look up, and it will go up river a little bit. You can see where there's a spot where the sun hits, and there are some of those crocodiles that are very much on there. And the biggest one of them, one who's kind of sitting there scarred, old, will slide off of its warm part through the mud and come over to where you are at. And it will look at you, and it will say, what is it that you want? And you realize that the voice kind of comes from the wood vibrating around you rather than the alligators talking.
I will respond in Croc, since I can talk to sea creatures.
Oh, and they'll like, all of them will kind of dip their noses to acknowledge this, and they kind of back up, like, and he'll say, change from human speech to crocodile, "Who are you?"
I am Ransom. I am called by several names, but the sea is my home, the same as you.
Well, we lie at the edge of the sea, but the point is taken.
I have come with my companions to this town, and we are going to be taking up residence in the library above. And it is my hope to provide some assistance to the town to bring in trade, but more importantly, to maintain peace between all those who come to visit this place.
You wish to set your stake here, to set your your claim upon this place? I do not mean claim as in you rule, but you wish to have some authority.
When one travels far, it is always good to have a home to return to.
You speak the old tongue that even those who talk with magic to us cannot master. So I acknowledge your gift. We will support you in what you do, but we have two conditions.
And they are?
Our temple that lies upriver in the deep heart remains sacrosanct.
That is certainly reasonable.
And every once in a while, a tourist.
Any who are foolish enough to enter your realm, well, they would deserve what they got, I suppose.
That is exactly it. We ask that people not be explicitly warned. That is the bargain that we have kept in the past. And we have provided our gifts to protect this place.
It would seem the natural order. I am fully in agreement.
We are very much the natural order of things.
Then I think we are in agreement, Great One.
Yes, we are. I am called the Death Rolling One.
I'm called the Raptor of the Waves. And
good name, he says.
And I would say this, however, as a condition of my own.
I've asked, so you may.
There is no sea which I cannot visit. I may swim even in these waters, and I expect that I would be welcome.
You and all who bear your mark will be considered sacrosanct.
Very good.
And they will go back to the thing. You can tell that they're kind of taking with you because you do see that there is a little bit of the symbiosis that they have with the birds, because you do see various birds settling on some of their backs and doing that pecking of things and cleaning them on, and they seem to have a certain sympathy with all of you.
Nice.
So all of you have done individual projects. Let me do a once around on scenes for if you want to talk to NPCs, if you want to talk to one another, want to call a scene. If there's something particular you want to do, you want to look into what's going on, you want news of the outside world, whatever. Threadless, what is it that you do? You are so muted.
Yeah, I think she goes to find Minoros.
He seems a little freaked out by all the change. And he's still riding around on his bicycle.
He's used to it.
Yeah. But he will see you and he will bow and he will say, "What am I to call you?"
Oh, my name is Threadless.
Yes, but what am I to call you?
Threadless.
No title? No fancies?
She sort of stops and says, "I suppose if you want something particular from me, you might add that in front. The bountiful, or..." the accurate, or the lucky, all of those.
Well then, bountiful Threadless, how can the last of the Vare to be of assistance to you?
God that we wanted to take care of. Or a piece of a god, a parasitic.
This is the one that you and your compatriots were looking into?
But it's tied to this kingdom that attacked, yes? The ones with the masks?
No.
It isn't. Oh, it's what they were afraid of. That's right. This thing is afraid of them as well. Still.
But you wish to cause problems for this parasite god.
Yes. And she goes, I'm pretty good with a bow. I would like to know how to fit my bows as I learn the properties of a god so that I may strike it more consistently. Or in fact, anyone using a bow that I've created could cause it more pain.
There are ways and things that I can show you, but I think you yourself, your power has grown. I do not think you will have trouble dealing with this god now.
No, I won't. But I do want to make it so that others can protect themselves. And she stops and she says, if there is no danger to me, then what is the worth of going forward?
That's a little more obtuse than I'm comfortable with.
That's
but,
all right.
Fair enough. You are a builder? Then perhaps I can help you build something to give to protect, or at least slow down the harm.
That would be good.
Professor Vedro, what is it that you want to do?
That's a good question. I think Evedro is preoccupied with the Empire of the Hours. I'm probably preoccupied with two things. Planning the next ball, because that turned out to be far more fun than I thought it was going to be. And
all right.
But also, that's kind of his near-term project. His long-term project is the Empire of the Hours. And I think what he's doing is setting his research minions to find out everything that they can about it, and especially sort of their recent history and how they ended up where they are, with the intent of potentially bringing our own nations to attack them.
So let me give you some basics, and then maybe we can go to a roll, or we can use a fact to kind of push further on things. And this comes from looking at the books, from talking with people, getting a sense of that. What you will know is that the Empire of the Hours lies to the south and east of this. They kind of form part of that bottom boundary of this massive inner ocean that your islands lie within. Physically, they actually connect up with the Empire of Iron. Like they have a physical, like, locked area that is contested. They reshape the land. Like, that's one of their things, is that they have technology left over that they use to, like, shape the land into segments that are orderly and controlled. They have these three orders: the masks, the torques, and the gauntlets that I spoke about before, that are like reforged god pieces. They have a queen that rules from the center capital, and they have two striking things. One is that they also have old magical devices that allow them to move great distances within their own empire. They're magical devices they can set up, and then they can transit things a great distance to another thing that's set up, which is great for logistics, but these are choke points, and they're also supposedly fragile magical creations. So that's kind of an important point. The other thing is that they have, though to a lesser extent than the Empire of the Hours, they have skyships. But the reason you don't see them up here is because the skyships can't go over water. And given the amount of ocean between here and there, that's the reason they've never come this way. They were, like all of these empires, the Empire of Ghosts, the Empire of Iron, and the Empire of Hours, they were cut off until a couple of generations ago from crossing the water, but that has changed. And the impression you get is that they are very much looking at disrupting and colonizing these lands. So that's the basics that you can get. What do you want to push on? What else do you want to know?
Here are some ideas that occurred to me.
Sure.
I would like to start to maybe engage Ransom in the idea of airships, so that we build our own as a potential defense, at least, if not a way to attack them. And then I feel like I want to research, and maybe this is engaging with Threadless on this, the magical devices that allow them to move great distances, to try and figure out a way to disrupt those things, to create problems internally.
Absolutely. I think what it is getting what records you can of those devices and finding those, and then looking for the weak points in that. Why don't you make an intelligence check for me?
Oh, right. Sometimes we roll dice. I forgot about that.
Yes. Do you have any fact related to you being a researcher?
Well, I mean, I own a school.
I think that's reasonable. So yeah, you may roll your intelligence check. I'm going to say this, just don't roll a 1.
Well, now that you said it.
Exactly.
The other thing that I mean, yeah, I have a couple facts that may be relevant. So. I rolled a 13.
Okay. So I think that you will look, and you will see that there are certainly a couple of points that are more fragile, that are they work to protect them. The main thing is that there is a focusing crystal and lens kind of in the heart of this thing. And removing, stealing, or breaking that is the surest way to destroy this thing, because they are crafted to specifications, because these are complex pieces of machinery.
Well, I know just the person to help me with complex machinery.
Yeah, so you can have like pull together sketches and notebooks. I imagine that eventually you get yourself a big stack of research papers and things like that, various testimonies from people over the years and things like that. And you get the reports together, gather them until you've got the best picture in your mind that you can of them. And it is Torx, Torc.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
I don't know that word.
That's the descriptor for those little half circlet kind of things.
Right? Neck things.
Yeah, neck things, that's right. Gotta get that mixed up. Tassos, who do you want to talk to? What do you want to do? You will note that that since all of this went down, that your friend Rahan has probably been avoiding you a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Shocking. Well, I am interested in knowing more than some undead screaming lady down a hole.
Okay.
About the undead screaming lady down a hole. And that may actually involve Rahan. Or library books. I'm not sure which would be a better source.
Well, that seems like an intelligence roll. What is your intelligence roll?
Intelligence check is an 8.
Oh, yeah.
So I just have, is that 8 or better? Is that what that means?
You have to roll better than an 8. Do you have any facts that reflect your ability to be a researcher?
Not really, no. Here. Oh, that's a 9.
So you will hunt through, and it's so many of the records of the time before the Sundering have been lost, and it's fragments and traces and so on. And eventually you will find the name of this goddess, and it is Casabara, the Song Unsung.
1S or 2?
1S. And Casabara, the Song Unsung, is a goddess of beauty and that kind of beauty that is so kind of overwhelming and powerful that it takes the words away. It steals that power of speech. But what you will know is that Casabara was part of a trinity, along with a fertility god or goddess and a war god, and that those other two were reprocessed and made into weapons. And she ended up getting grabbed up as sort of a free god by some kind of cult, and used in the battles as kind of a bridgeway, and was killed. And in dying, kind of fell out and drifted. And from what you can tell, like didn't quite die, was infected by unlife, and then kind of fell and jammed up this night road. And people used powers to kind of keep her stuck there so the night road wouldn't open up. Does that seem like fair info?
I mean, that seems like horrifying info, but much, much more than I knew before. So yes, very satisfying.
So you're uncertain whether the undeadness is because when she died, there was something wrong with how she died, whether it's an infection or it's something else. Like that's like one of the crux questions that you don't yet quite have an answer to. But as you are doing that, and as you are talking, one of the research assistants says, "Oh, so she is of the unlife, the undead, right?"
It would appear so. You sound very familiar with unlife.
No. Well, it's just that I've heard the stories of what's happening in Ghaznaki.
What's happening in Ghaznaki? Is it horrifying?
Oh, yes.
Are people losing sleep over it?
Well, I think they're losing more than sleep. You came from the north, so you may not know this. Ghaznaki is one of the great cities of Arwanshah to the south. And perhaps half a year ago, a shadow fell over the city, and there were omens and portents. And then 3 or 4 months ago, a dragon descended and settled onto the walls, and it does not breathe fire. It breathes undeath. And what it catches with its breath turns into the unliving. And it has claimed the city. Refugees have fled out into the hinterlands, and the Ghaznaki is a cold, dead shadow of what it once was. I slurred my words there. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I still understood what you're saying.
Good. It's my accent.
You should work on that. It's distracting.
I have enunciation exercises, but I forget to do them in the morning.
Dragons and undead, and that's very mysterious indeed. And do you think she might be associated with this in some way?
No, I was just saying that there's another powerful force of undeath out there.
Oh, so you were just trying to prove that you knew something cool too.
Yes.
All right. Well, it was genuinely cool this time, but
Okay.
maybe examine that impulse in future interactions with people. Like, is there a reason why you need to one up the singing undead goddess of beauty in a hole in the basement?
I spent so much time around Evedro, and he crushes you. He just crushes you.
He is amazing.
He goes away before the tears can fall off of his face there. Ransom. Let's come back to you. Who do you want to talk to? What do you want to do here?
Well, let's see. I know that our purpose for coming here was to prepare ourselves perhaps to go back up north and deal with the serpent problem man that we had there. But we seem to be collecting problems all around. So we're going to end up having to focus at some point. I'll say one thing I am doing on occasion. I am making sure to spend time with find your name real quick, Leisha, and showing her the ship and flying around and swimming and showing her the sea and that sort of stuff. But that's more of an enjoyment thing. For business, I would like to kind of ask everyone, talk to folks, and we don't have to, get into the weeds of it in character as much if we don't want to, but looking at, we need to deal with that up north if that's something we would like to do. We are in a position now where we could take him on better footing, and we might have some allies to assist us there. We have the mask. I have this mask here. That is something I could try to research myself, or we could put into researching more about. That would at least, give us some idea of these, of the others that may come back to bug us in the future, since we probably have left them in, kind of pissed at us. But, and then it sounds like we've got, I have a lovely captain friend who would be able to tell us more about your dragon thing, probably, since that's where he comes from. But what would we like to focus on? Do we want to have our next step be going back up north, or do we need to look into other things?
We would go back up north, take care of the vizier there, and then try to go to take care of the thing that sent him in, which is that power of darkness, yes, that planted the seeds in the children. Mm-hmm. I think that's what our goal is. And then, effing with the empire of ours makes good sense. I think if nothing else, just containing them to where they are right now so they can make themselves miserable and no one else seems like the best possible outcome.
I agree. Abdralim's a dick and he ate one of my arms, so that needs to be addressed at some point. But yes, I do think the more interesting and more threatening threat there is the whatever seeded a god into him and potentially other people.
Okay.
And then crystal mask stuff and weird magic expansionist empire sounds fun.
All right. Fedro, you seem to also be in agreement. Then what research do we feel we need to have before we confront him? Do we wish to in some way separate him from whatever's powering him, or do we feel that we are capable of or need more resources in fighting him directly at this point?
And I think the four of us could handle him handily now. Probably if it'd been all four of us that met up with him in that time, we would have been able to beat him. But I thought you guys were just scouting, and then he got into a fight, and I wasn't expecting that, or I would have been there. Oh, so disappointed.
It was not a successful scouting mission, unfortunately. Though we did rescue people.
Yes, that you did very well. And yes.
So, all right. Do we
no one died of us? It was great.
Well, then I suppose do we feel like we should head back now? Or as very soon? And would we like to enlist any allies to help us in this endeavor, or should we take it on ourselves?
I think it makes sense to take this on ourselves, at least this first part, and then once we get some sense of the power that invested, what's his name?
Abdralim.
Sorry, I always start wrong and then I can't go forward. So Abdralim, once we do that and get some sense of that, then we may need allies. But I think that we actually, between the four of us, have a good deal that could put this force at a great disadvantage.
I definitely think, sticking Mineru's on the problem of the God Spreader would be a smart move.
That's what invested Eldraine, right?
Yeah, whatever is Johnny Appleseeding bad gods into people.
I thought we would head to him after we take care of Eldraine. But yeah, we could bring Mineraz with us to consult.
Just seems like his area of expertise.
Yeah.
As long as he can bring
awful,
his
so
bicycle.
We have to torment him.
Yes, he bring his bicycle on the ship,
Have to get him some paddles.
I'll put some little floaties on it.
Right, like those things you take out in the lake.
So it sounds like we have a plan.
I'm going to use one of my gifts. The Unveiled Truth. I'm going to commit effort for the scene, and I'm going to just ask, where is Abdralhim now?
He is in his Temple of Roses in that ruby tower. It has been a few weeks since you attacked him, and nothing has followed up. Nothing has happened. So he seems like he's sitting pretty, and believes that he has scared all of you off.
Well, that shall not stand. We've been busy.
So before we go, can I do a shrine too?
Yeah, you can spend your free wealth to do that. What does your shrine look like?
Oh, it's the very simplest. It's the most standard shrine in the whole world. It's literally a shrine. And you can go and essentially, for a small amount of coin that you put in to a box that's like really quite infinite in its collection abilities, you essentially, you can choose to buy a fortune for luck or buy a fortune for fertility. And essentially, and also, I suppose any of my things. So if you want a lucky shot with a bow, you can buy that in particular. It's more powerful.
Okay.
So
should definitely have you take a look at the apotheosis stuff for what everyone can do with that.
Okay.
Sanctifying Shrine is at 3rd level. People can do that.
So what does it cost?
So gained at 3rd level, you can now sanctify. When it's properly consecrated, you can perceive anything going on within it. You can target a gift or miracle at any person within the sacred grounds as the usual cost of effort. That's free the first time you do that each day, but each one costs additional effort. And essentially, we cost you the 3 wealth, which is probably what you guys have right now. You also, at 3rd level, get Smite the Apostate.
Okay, that sounds fun too.
You can instantly kill an offending worshiper or afflict them with some debilitating suffering. This torment lasts as long as the Godbound desires.
What happens when you don't reshelve your books?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh no, I got a good idea for what the shrine is like now.
Okay.
It's like, because we've got the water here in the river, like think of it, it's attached to a mill, and so there's a loom going, and essentially the walls of the shrine are always reweaving.
I like it. Let's take our first break. Let's take 10. We'll come back at 20 after. So we cut to Lancena. You've once more carefully parked your boat a ways down, a ways away. And you have with you your assassin, Mineros, who once he's kind of on the ship and like set to a task, he gets very quiet, and he has gear with him and so on, and he kind of sets himself at attention and listens to what you have to say, answers questions, but kind of waits patiently for what is to be done. And you will make your way again into Lansana. It is much like it was last time, that the circles of the city, the mosaics and the brickwork marking out the paths and things, the lead up to the sort of the big tower and castle that is right by the great sort of barrier thing. They are still working to repair that. The other thing is that there's definitely a much higher security presence around the building that houses that magical device, the one that you put the curse on. That is where you see much more security. In fact, sort of the area around that building, any kind of shops or things like that, has clearly been cleared. And they've got that set up and take that seriously. You will also notice that around the perimeter of the outside of the building, almost wrapping it like ivy, are tendrils of roses. The Ruby Tower that you saw before, that used to be a shrine of the gods with a pass-through, looks much the same as it did last time. A few priests coming and going, an outside set of shrines, the upper building windows, and those same wards in place. So I assume all of you are in disguise, and then Tassos is as Tassos does. Miros is very good at changing his appearance. And for those of you, even you, Evedro, who are skilled at seeing through dissembling and illusion, can see that his disguise works on several levels. It's not just mundane, but it also is clearly camouflages him to spirits and magic and things like that. So, Captain Mineros says, what is the plan?
I'll look around to everyone. Wards are significant, but I have managed to get through them before. And
would you
yes,
like me to kill the wards?
yes. Now that would be fantastic.
If you wish me to,
very helpful.
When you're ready to go in, tell me, and I will murder the wards.
Oh, that's lovely. Then
Sounds very violent.
It is.
Wait, will they be scared? Do they know that you're coming?
No, I don't. I usually don't warn people or things before I come to kill them.
Oh. This is fascinating.
And he looks at the captain as if to say, and perhaps off mission.
Well, then if the wards are going to be brought down, I have a suggestion, and we can discuss how we think on that. If the wards come down and I could get visual on our quarry, then we could just appear right beside him. Well, more accurately, I could appear just beside him, shake my sleeves out, and the three of you could fall out from my sleeves.
No.
Will I have any sense of being in your sleeves prior to that?
will you have any sense of?
Yes, it
No,
should be like I feel like I'm being jostled in your sleeves as you walk around.
no,
But we have to get very small.
not really.
Sounds fabulous.
Is there a more dignified way than just shaking us haphazardly out of your sleeves?
I could do a flourish.
Oh, okay.
All right, then I shall flourish you from my sleeves, and we will suddenly be there right with him. Actually, flourish works better for me anyway. A good suggestion, Tussos.
That's why we work as a group on these things.
It says, I'll go walk over there. And when you want me to murder the wards, it's merely to give me a signal, and I will do that. I will leave the four of you to your tasks then.
All right. So he usually is up in the tower. We kind of have an idea of that. We know where the tower is.
Yeah, you see that they've repaired that window that you smashed out of.
So can we get some eye on him or sense of that he actually is up there? Because he could have like a summer home that he's at right now.
I think Evedro has already cast his magics and knows that he is in the tower at this moment.
All right, then. I'm all for it. Let's do it. Why think? Just do it.
I wholeheartedly agree. Then, I will, my friends, no time shall pass at all. I shall take good care of you, and I will reach out and touch the three of them, and they suddenly disappear, and shall go into stasis.
Feel very uncomfortable inside your void.
I'm not going to touch that line at all.
I was letting that go as well.
So what is this?
This is probably my favorite gift I have. It is up your sleeve. As an instant action, the Godbound can conceal or hide a touched object no larger than a carton team. The gift can conceal no more than one object per level. I have 3 levels. No search can discover these objects on their person, and they can be produced again as an action. Objects appear immediately. If the Godbound dies or goes unconscious, they appear immediately if I die or go unconscious. Objects hidden this way are in stasis while concealed. Living creatures can be concealed, but they must be willing.
Okay. Then whoosh, and you're standing there by yourself, Ransom.
And I will turn into a bird and fly up to the window.
Okay. Do you signal to Monrose to murder the wards?
Yes, I will. I will have arranged a sparrow beside him, and I'll tell him that when the sparrow gives you then you should do. And when I get up there, I'll think to the sparrow. Okay, do it.
And you see Monrose pulls out a little flute. And puts down a hat like a busker and begins to play. And you will feel and hear the writhing of the spell spirits of the wards as they are like in sequence killed by the flute playing. And that crack kind of appears, and the wards you were able to see before are gone.
Excellent.
Do you want to fly up to this window then?
Yes, flying up to the window and attempting to get either a look through or produce a crack in.
Absolutely. You see that it has been reinforced, more bars and things to make it harder for people to jump out. There is glass there, that kind of rose-colored glass, and you'll see it again. There is that room, and you'll see there are a couple of figures in Snow White style glass coffins in here, and the walls are covered with those roses. You don't see him here, but you know that this was essentially his labs, and that he was a floor down from here before.
Okay. Does it look as though the window has a means of being opened, or is it a sealed window?
It is a sealed window.
Okay.
I'm assuming that won't be too much trouble for you.
No, I wouldn't think so. I'm just trying to decide, is it better to just break through the window in a small spot, or to try and do something more?
What do you think, Captain?
The better part of this might be just to maybe not make as big a ruckus as possible. I will turn it to.
You definitely have to dramatically shatter the same window
But no
that
one
we
will
broke
see us.
before.
He's not in here. So I'll turn into a woodpecker and I will peck a hole in the window glass if I can do that.
Let's have you make a dexterity check just to do this without drawing undue attention.
All righty. So I have a check of 3. And I shall roll a d20. 16.
So you were able to and smash out a portion of this without shattering the whole window, and slip through on into this area. Again, that fragrance, the perfume of the roses around in here. You can see there are 2 young people in these coffins. One of them looks like, how do I put this? Like even in this coffin, you can see that they glow a little, like they have a little bit of some weird talent to them.
Okay. We will definitely be rescuing them. I can't deny my friends the flourish reveal, so I either need to find him or I need to draw him here. So you say I think his space is down below us,
yes,
right?
he's one. Remember, one flight down, there are the guards down there, and there were his rooms, the ones that he spoke with young Master Tassos in.
Yes. All right. Well, I think I'm going to fly down and see if I can find him.
Okay. Then I think that I'm going to have you roll me a fortune die. Roll me 1d6.
1d6. All right. 6. Boop. And roll. 1.
A 1.
It's like golf. That's good, right?
So it looks like there are a set of guards outside this door. The door is shut, and you can tell that he is inside.
All right. Then I will. Perfect. I'm going to commit effort as I begin tweeting a beautiful little bird song.
All right.
And I am doing my the Nightingale song to try and the song is that they're very worried that perhaps the masters just called them. They should look in on him, make sure he's okay, make sure that he hasn't called for them.
Perfect. You'll sing that out. It will trill through these halls, and you can see these guards like throw open the doors, and you'll see this room. You'll see those elite guards kind of waiting in the wings, and you will see this table set with fruits and things like that. You can see that there's like a bowl that's filled with like just little bits of something. It's not clear what they are, but you see Abdrahim like puts an apple or a pear in his mouth and then just kind of spits out the seeds. There's no chewing or anything like that. They're just gone. And he kind of spits those out and then reaches for another one, and then your door comes open, and he'll turn, and he sees you, and he goes, "You."
And I will drop down and change back as I say, "We've been looking for..." No, that's not good. We've returned to finish our business. Flourish!
Will fly. The three of you will fly out. You don't hear the stumble on the captain's first speech. You only hear the good last part of it as you come flying out of there. It's a big room table. There are braziers and things around. Abdralhim has stood up. There's a group of elite guards in here. And what do you do, Threadless? You are muted. So muted.
Seeking flight, which is an on turn.
Okay.
And essentially, this gives me excellent options on hitting a Dralheim.
Okay.
So essentially, and then I have to wait the next turn to make it awesomer. But at least right now, I get to treat them as AC 9, ignore cover. And it always heads right through them. It seeks them out regardless of range. And provided there's at least some path for my arrow to reach them.
Okay. So that's activate that on your turn, commit effort. I don't believe you can fire.
Yes.
So roll to hit AC 9.
Yeah. I'll just roll a 1d20 and you can tell me if I hit. Oh, a 6.
A 6 plus 9 is 15. And what's your base attack bonus?
That's a fine question. It's on my sheet somewhere.
Yes, it is.
3.
So you will miss.
No, that seems unfair.
It does, and yet it happened.
So he has an AC of 9.
Yeah.
That doesn't really help me much, though, does it? Or does it add 9 to it?
So it's what you rolled as a 6.
Yeah.
We add 9 to that, which is his AC, and then we add your base attack bonus.
And I have to beat 20?
Have to get 21 or better.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I just always forget this particular.
No, I understand it. And so you will fire that off, and he will pull back away. It comes closer than it should have for him. What do you do, Tassos?
So it's him, and there's guards in here?
Group of elite guards in here, yes.
Gotcha.
They are a elite mob.
Okay, so they are a mob. Well, if they're a mob, even if they are elite, they don't deserve individual attention. So, Tassos will smile a smile that goes far too wide and involves way too many teeth. As their arms and fingers stretch out into wicked claws, dripping blue poison, toxic drops this time. And I want to go attack that mob with my fingers.
Okay. They are AC 4. Armored troops.
For that. All right. My claw attack is 4. Oh no, just one of you guys. Yep, it's a 1.
That is a 1. Hey Sherry, did you roll your luck for this session? You are muted again, so I don't think so.
Yeah, I did not do that, so I will do it right now.
Okay.
10.
Okay. So Tassos, you go raking at them. They raise up shields and armor and kind of deflect that, even as Abdralhim shouts, "Kill the Protean." Evedro, what do you do?
Is it daytime?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Just want to know how arrogant to be. Trying to decide if I should disclose the flaw or a truth that burns. I don't think we really care about their plans.
It does seem right.
We want to know his weakness. So I will commit. This is an instant.
Yep.
Which does that mean I get another attack or another?
Yeah, you get to do
action?
stuff. Yeah. An instant you can do like off of your turn.
Yeah, so I'm going to commit effort for the scene and know its current weakness and most vulnerable elements.
So he has a certain amount of nature to him, like natural force. So anything decaying or rot or even fire that's part of his nature, and he is a creature of hunger, so he is driven by that. Like that is the passion that guides his choices here. Does that seem like fair info?
Yeah, I don't know what I can do with it, but sure.
Okay.
I feel like I want to use this gift, Corona of Fury.
Okay.
I hurl a torrent of my word's energy at the group of foes. So this will be for the guards, basically.
Okay.
Or basically all the bad guys, affecting all within a 30-foot radius within sight. Each victim takes a D8 die of damage for every 2 levels I have rounded up.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and roll 2d8 for the mob.
I rolled a 2 and a 6 for a total of 8.
But we take each of those individually on the damage chart. So you do 1 point and 2 points. So you're going to do 3 points of damage to the mob.
Okay.
And then you roll 2d8 against him.
A little better. 6 and an 8.
6 and 8. So you do 4 points of damage to him. Oh wait, is there a to hit roll for that?
Let me see. I don't think so. I think it just says you hurl a torrent of your word's energy affecting all. Each victim takes a D8 of damage.
Okay, well that's pretty sweet.
Assuming they're all in a 30-foot radius.
Yeah, that's the other thing is, of course, you've got a room that is big, but you can certainly wrap both of them up in this Corona. Ransom.
And Lowell.
Yeah.
I forgot my fray die, but I rolled a 2 on the fray die.
Okay. So that will be a 1 point. So we have 16 of these elites, and before anything has really happened, a quarter of them have been killed. Just to make that clear, Captain Ransom.
I think that I am going to. I think that as they're taking on the others around, and I've seen Threadless go after him, I'm going to be in support of Threadless, giving him someone to have right in front of him so Threadless can continue at range. So I leap towards him, and I think as I do, you see my fingers kind of narrow in and get that kind of talony, claw-like look to them, very bird-like talons. As I get my, I do my talons and beak, so I will commit effort, and I will try to hit him.
Excellent. His AC for you is a 3.
All righty. So I'm rolling Let's see. That'll be a plus. I have a 4, I suppose. So rolling a d20. Still seems to be wanting to run. Oh, I've lost connection. Hang on, let me refresh.
Certainly.
Okay. Rolling a d20. 17.
17. All right. So you will hit. Roll your damage.
All right. So I roll a d10.
Plus whatever. This is melee, so strength bonus.
So plus 1. 6.
6. So you will cut him for 2 points of damage there.
Aha!
Kind of cut into him. You've definitely drawn his attention.
And a D8 for your fray die.
Oh yeah, please.
Oh, do I get fray on him as well? Or
No, you get on. All these elites are standing around. They're people. They're just getting caught up because you're a badass god and just getting knocked back by your being awesome.
All right. My fray die, I roll a 3. I don't get to add my strength to that, though.
No.
Okay. 3.
So that's one more. And Sherry, you should roll your fray die from your round too.
I did. It was a 6.
6. So they are down to essentially 7 of their 16 of their number have dropped there. Tassos, first of all, I need you to make a hardiness save as they swarm in and use their overwhelm on you.
Rude. Disagree.
Yes.
Hardiness. So my hardiness saves a 10, so I have to roll a 10 or better?
I believe so.
Do it. That's a 3.
That is a 3. Then they will swarm you for this much damage. 10 points of damage.
Ow.
What is your AC?
It's an 8.
Okay. So I'm gonna roll a d20. And that's just they're overwhelmed. They're normal. They swing their normal swords at you, and that doesn't land.
Oh wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, well, they've only got a +4 attack bonus. Their overwhelm is their real threat because it's damage that's read straight.
That's crazy.
Ransom, you draw his attention with that strike. He is going to take a swing at you. What is your AC?
A 3.
A 3. So he is going to roll this plus 13.
Eek.
So he is going to hit you. For 7 points.
Yeesh.
He is going to take a swing at you, Sherry. And I want you to imagine that he reaches over and goes and he clutches at you, Tyler, after you've hit him with that thing, and he hits you. And when he draws blood, it flies into his mouth. And you'll see him heal a little bit. And he goes, oh, delicious. Threadless, he's going to try and hit you, but will not. Swings the other thing, trying to reach over and maybe knock that bow away, but doesn't land the blow. But still, Ransom, your blood is running down his chin, and he looks at you. A little bird, a little chicken flavor there. Threadless, we come back to you. I'll wait to tell you you're muted.
Okay, so Volt of Invincible Strength.
Okay.
So that essentially means that I'm committing effort to ensure that my current or next ranged attack does the maximum danger and hits on anything but a natural roll of 1. So along with seeking flight.
What does that look like? Like when you go to do this badass bow shot, what do we see?
It's a good question. I think what it is that like she and the bow, she kind of goes like almost like a machine, and all the threads in a loom, and the bow is in there, and it's like almost a shadow of herself, but like if shadows were really brightly colored threads, if that makes any sense in that moment.
Absolutely. Roll a d20, just don't roll a 1.
And if I do, I have a 10. So, but I rolled a 10 again. So
okay.
There you go.
So you will hit, and this does max damage. So
yes,
we'll do 4 points to him. So that sinks into him.
And then I do a fray die?
Yes, you do.
Six again.
6. So even as you're doing that, a couple of these guys back up like close to you, and you just casually drop arrows into them, cutting down their numbers there before you shoot that shot into him. Tassos.
There's still guards around?
There are less than half.
Yeah, I think Tassos just continues sort of implacably forward, and where there were like large gaping see through to the other side wounds in him from their weapons. What do they have as weapons?
Swords, short swords, gladius style things.
Those holes, some of them just start like dripping from the top as they just close over and fill in, and I'll heal 3 points of damage.
Nice.
And I'm going to try and claw their souls out of them again.
Okay, AC is a 4. Also, don't forget that this is second round, so you have a +1.
Okay, so 11 or better. And that was a 16 on the d20.
So
that's 11 points of damage, because I automatically do max, and I got a 7 on the fray die. Or not 11 points of damage, but 11 as a damage roll, and so 7 on the fray as a damage roll.
So there's a thing where you are just this implacable force, and when you pull back, there is but a single one of these guards left. Just one left.
And just for extra effect for him, since this is that weird blue toxin that's dripping from his fingers, so the ones that I've hit along the way and this group that I just like raked through, they're not actually dead. They fall down to the ground unconscious, asleep. And as I stare at them and instill like nightmare versions of Tassos to go hunt them through their dreams, they start like twitching and moaning, and every now and then one of them will cry out.
Delicious. Evedro, there is one elite guard and this parasite god who is trying to drink the blood of ransom.
I sort of look over at Tassos like, I guess you got the guards. And I'm going to commit effort for Body of Burning Light. My brilliance makes me impossible to target, almost impossible to target. And while I shine, my AC is 3 against creatures with sight, and my weapons or unarmed attacks count as a magical weapon with a range of 200 feet. So I'm going to light up, and I am going to punch Abdrahim.
Okay. His AC is 3, and it's a second round, so he +1 to that. So his AC effectively is 4 for you.
Fantastic. And my attack bonus is only 3. So it sounds like I need to roll 13.
Yeah, I think so 4 plus 3, so 14 or better.
Got it. Not so good. 8.
So you will light up, that will catch in his face, but you go, what is that? What is it that goes and tries to hit him?
It's me. So I think I think this gift has evolved where I don't glow or I don't shine so much as like you can sort of feel the fury of the sun underneath my skin. And I sort of glide closer to him, and I literally punch him.
Okay. Take that swing at him. He will pull back away from that. Ransom. Oh, I'm sorry, Evedra, I also need to roll your fray die.
Yes. Which is a what now?
1d8.
A 5.
So that is, even as you are moving forward, this other guy is backing away from Tassos, and this last guard gets caught in the corona of your energy and drops to the ground.
I give Tassos a shrug, like, sorry.
He's like the last fry stuck in the fryer after several batches. Ransom.
I'm going to look at him and say, I would suggest that you surrender, but I'm not going to give him any chances. I claw into his eyes.
All right. AC is 3 plus 1 for this round, so AC is a 4.
Okay, and I have a +4 to hit, so I don't know what that means.
13 or better.
13 or better. I haven't quite figured out how to roll. Oh, but it's a 7.
So you will go raking at him, and he will dodge away from you.
Would a 10 make it happen?
No.
Okay.
He will, just because you're taunting him, he'll, even though you're not, these other people are, he's still going to take one swing at you, Tyler, of his 2 swings.
Don't blame him.
So your AC is a 3?
3.
So I'm rolling this D20. I'm adding a 13 to it. And he will miss with that shot at you. And Threadless is further away, so I think he will take his thing, and he will throw vines over at Evedra. Just torrent of vines will come out of his hand towards you. Evedra, what is your AC?
3 with me lighting up.
Okay, 3. So I'm rolling and adding a 13 to this. So he will hit you with those vines, and he will do 3 points of damage to you. And the vines hit you and bite into you and drink, but not too deeply.
Yeah, you want to savor this.
Yeah, he tries to, but he doesn't do enough damage to really get that much of a heal on himself from you, and it still costs him effort.
Are the vines magic or are they divine?
They're part of his divinity. They're one of his gifts that he is using.
So any sort of dispel magic wouldn't work on them.
Unless it dispels a word.
I don't think so. I will read and I will come.
Okay. Threadless. You are once again, you're in a whole cycle of muting here.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's just that air conditioning is like on a roll right now. So essentially, I will spend another point of effort and I will shoot him again.
Roll. AC now is a 5 with the bonus for the escalation. Oh, that's definitely a hit.
Yeah, so that's pretty much a hit. So he takes the max damage, which for my bow is an 8.
Okay. plus your dex bonus.
Oh, well then I would have been hitting more. So, but anyway, that's cool. So my dex bonus is
so it'll go up to the 4 points of damage you'll do. So okay. Another heavy blow landed there. Tassos.
There's no fray to fray, is there?
No, they're all dead.
So sad.
There's probably guards who've come up the stairs the second tier, like the soldiers.
I wave them away.
And they stop, like they don't come up.
Yeah, because the guys who are laying there on the ground, they're just getting more shredded.
Yeah, so and screaming and
yeah. Even though they're dead, they're screaming.
There's some of that.
Yeah. Tassos.
So I think Tassos, that smile as he's walking towards Abdralhim widens and opens, and there's like long, different length, sharp teeth that are also dripping that blue toxin. And I want to try and bite his arm off. He bit my arm off.
Fair enough. His AC is 3. That's a third round, so another +2, so effectively a 5.
5 plus 4 is 9, so 11 or better again. But no fray die, which is just a shame.
You will hit.
Oh, that is a 12. So he needs to make a hardiness save.
Hardiness save. Saves are that for him. Oh, I guess I can do it with that.
Oh, and I rolled max on damage.
Oh, so what is the hardiness save against?
Against passing out, incapacitation.
I will spend effort to resist. Oh, it's a miracle there.
Then yeah, it's this toxin entering his blood is just like waves of exhaustion.
I think you'll see that like the roses and things that are kind of like have sprouted on him, they'll turn from red to blue as he kind of has to feed that toxin into them. And he essentially, you feel him having to tap his power as best he can. He is not in good shape.
But yeah, that was an 11 on the damage.
Yeah, 4 points of damage. It staggers back. His arm is probably bent a little from that hit. The toxin is coursing through him, Professor Vedro.
I have this thing called Purity of Brilliant Law. Defensively dispel a hostile magical effect on yourself or offensively dispel another gift for a round as if with a miracle. I don't really understand the words offensively dispel another.
Well, what you could do is you could dispel his ability to regenerate.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. What do you think that looks like? Like how do you render his sort of blood drinking, useless here? What do we see?
I mean, this is a gift from the sun word. So I do think there is an element of kind of burning away this aspect of him. Yeah. So
see, you hit him. There's some of the roses light up, and I think that flames will wash over, and you'll see his mouth catches on fire.
Nice. Like
his lips are burning, his mouth is on fire. He is screaming through that. Yes. When you do that. Is that an action or is that an on turn?
It's good question. It's an instant.
Okay, so you can still do something.
Oh, great. Well, I'm out of effort, so I think I will just punch him again.
Okay, his AC is a 5.
I feel like he ate that salsa you were telling us about.
Oh, yeah.
I rolled a 13, so I think I just squeezed it up.
Yeah. So, yeah, with your bonus, you will hit him. Yeah. Roll your damage, which I believe is D8.
It's a D10.
D10. Roll your damage.
I rolled an 8.
8, so 2 more points. He is trying to keep himself together, like trying to reach and grasp ransom. Do you have any gifts to auto hit or do anything?
I do think I'm going to spend effort and do a miracle.
All right.
I seeing him there with his mouth of fire, I'll say, let me put that out. And I swing towards him. And as I do, my arm and hand become this gout of water that, as it hits, is this enormous wave that smashes straight into his face and blasts him in a tsunami wave. And I do my level in damage points.
And that will drop him. In fact, it overkills. Like you smash into him. I think he hits against that wall and there's that torrent and then he just explodes. And it's kind of washes down and you'll see the roses and the vines on the wall start to shrivel and die.
The water sort of pulls back towards me and disappears.
And you'll hear the sounds of guards running. Soldiers run, run, run. Let's take 5 for a bio break and then we'll come back. So there's just the sound of people running down the tower. And I think when you look out, people are clearing the plaza because they've seen soldiers come running out. There have been bursts of light that have come out of the windows, and then just a great torrent of water sprays out from up there and then comes sailing down the stairs, sweeping with it bodies. And like you can see soldiers of the city like gathering at the edges of the plaza, but not moving forward at all. You have killed him. What do you want to do?
My friends, there are 2 prisoners upstairs.
And I want to say that, like, Delek and Dala, the siblings, had actually snuck off the ship and followed us and used the distraction to, like, sneak in and go after those kids since they were in that same situation.
Sure. Yeah, I like that. So they will.
I think they sort of sheepishly come down the stairs now.
They have them, as you remember when you rescued Dala, it took a while for her to wake up. So they have these young people in their arms. What do we do now?
Well, we know that he had acquired different machines and objects that gave him power. I think it makes sense for us to go through and get those, understand how they work in the city, if that makes any sense.
So I think you can come down into his labs here, and there are various pieces. Some of them, basic magical devices and things like that. The very minor stuff. But it looks like what he has is he has basically pieces of old instructions on how to work the devices that are present in the city, the gates, some of the wards, some of those things. Like that's what he's acquired. But you will also find that in and amongst his journals, there are notes and sketches saying, and these are from a couple of years ago when you may remember we talked about him being in disfavor and wandering away. But they are maps leading inland into the mountains in search of this lost temple. And there's some journal of him heading out, and then it kind of stops. And then he doesn't write in his diary anymore after that. But it seems like that's where he went. Does that seem like fair info? As you guys are looking around, you can copy or memorize or all that stuff. You will hear sort of noise outside as eventually they start calling like actual troops. And you see like the city guard and some of the military forces are kind of gathering at the edge of the plaza.
I would like to spend however much influence I need to in essence give the people of this city the knowledge that they are now free from the tyrannical rule of Abdrahim.
Ooh, interesting. How do you do that? Like, how do you use your word, spend your influence to change the fact of their life?
I think it's like knowledge is to a certain extent perception, right? And so I'm sort of giving them the ability. I'm sort of removing a veil from before their eyes, right? So they can now see a lot of the pieces, the destroyed tower, the remembering the bird approaching it, like all these things, the vines throughout having been kind of pulled away so that they can start to piece together kind of in a sense on their own what happened.
So I think everyone who is around here in the immediate area like will have that revelation. And then I think it spreads like a virus. People talking to one another and stuff. And this is all during the time sort of when that army is gathering. And then sort of as the army have gathered and stuff like that, you'll start hearing screaming, and you'll start seeing groups of people grabbing up these hesiarchs. And you see rope and scaffolding and like they will start dealing with them. And suddenly the soldiers and the troops are, their attention, which was on, okay, maybe we're going to charge and attack the tower, is suddenly forced to deal with this massive uprising that is happening of the people who are turning on these hesiarchs who have been responsible for the vanishing of people over these last 6 months. You'll see whatever royal troops are there will fall back towards the palace, leaving essentially soldiers and the city guard to kind of deal with this outbreak here. And even as it starts to get dusk, you can see fires are starting up in various places, and you'll hear the murmurs and start of the rioting that is breaking out.
Like I need to send like a follow-up email. Okay, but I was trying to calm everyone down.
Or Devi, I have a very important question. What's the official etiquette on going to gleefully attend public executions while one is technically being personally besieged by an army? Is it rude to just ignore the army and go have fun at the executions?
I think etiquette would say that you should let the army know that you will come back to them later.
Like an IOU for besiegement.
Right, an RSVP, but I'm going to be running a little late.
That's
right.
Thank you. It's good to know the proper polite forms.
And Tassus, if you go down and go out, it's disappointing because they're not even besieging you guys anymore.
Yeah.
Their attention is suddenly on quelling these riots and protecting these people and protecting
such a
the
good
lords.
afternoon. Someone was so scared of me that they had called an entire army just for me personally alone by myself.
Absolutely, and yet,
and now they're just not even paying attention.
So I do have a question though. Tyler, you have the ability to speak to creatures of the sea, and there is a sea serpent that's sort of sleeping. If we could wake it up, since the only ones now that can stop it are the kings, essentially. They're going to have to go and stop it, and if you have it like it's attacks them, they will have to go and pick up that bad luck charm that we left them. I'm sorry, that Vedro and I placed, the one that they have trouble to force them to go and accept that responsibility and that bad luck.
This is true.
This will, yes. I just don't know if you can do that. But I mean, if I could help by committing effort or assisting in any way.
I could certainly try. If you wish, we can go and speak with them. And so I will touch you, pull you into my sleeve and fly to the dock and then let you off and put my hand into the water and feel out. Do I feel this serpent? I can feel within a mile.
While you two go, are the others leaving the tower? Or are you staying in the tower now that you've gathered the goods? I just want to have a sense where people are when you two fly and leave the tower.
I am enjoying a good old-fashioned street revolution.
Absolutely, you're walking through cries and screams.
Stuff of nightmares. There's fires and chaos. There's certain people who are very, very afraid right now.
Yeah, the Hesiarchs are in terror. You can kind of follow them, run them to ground.
I think Tassos is getting the nightmare god equivalent of drunk out on the street.
Okay, absolutely, and Vedro? Or Devi, I'm sorry, at this point.
Yeah, it's or Devi now. I'm going to, I think, start the process. I'm going to start to preach. I'm going to go out and I'm going to
Professor?
Lecture. Yeah.
Professor?
Kids.
Should we stay here in the tower?
Oh, right.
How? They like been waiting for and
oh, I'm a terrible guardian. Sorry, guys. I got drunk while I was taking care of kids.
How are there 4 of you now?
We rescued the other 2.
What do you? I thought. All right. Well, it's pretty dangerous out there.
Yes.
I really thought I was doing a good thing of helping everyone calm down, but it turns out that maybe
you did this.
Well, I mean, who does anything really? But I thought by telling everyone that they were not being ruled by evil eater person, parasite person, that then maybe they would chill out and they would not want to come after us, and that maybe they would sort of rebuild themselves. But it turns out, and you'd think I would know this, a little knowledge can sometimes go too far. And kids, sometimes ignorance is bliss. I know that's not really part of my shtick, but I think we should stay here.
Maybe you could
help. No. Uncle Orvedri is talking now. No talking.
Yes.
It's lecture time. It's listening time.
The girl does this.
Yes. What is your name again?
Oh, now I gotta look it up, of course.
You know what? It's fine. I'm not gonna remember it. I mean,
technically, she says her name.
Technically, I know it, because I know all.
Right. Could maybe could you take us to the boat?
Children, come here, come. And I take them to the window and I point to what can only be utter chaos.
Absolute chaos, madness.
Yes. And I'm like, see over there, that's where the boat is. And you see us here, we are far from the boat. And look, between us, between here and the boat, there's nothing but violence. So why don't we sit and study this scene for a bit? I think we will learn a lot from watching how people interact, and we will be safe up here in the tower until they decide to ransack the tower. But I'm sure we have at least an hour before that happens.
They're not going to set fire to it or anything?
It's quite possible.
Meanwhile, on the dock, Ransom, reach your hand into this thing and into that water and down at the bottom below those gates, there is that serpent. And it is slumbering, it is sleeping in those depths.
Threadless. We awaken this, and we are
send it to the palaces.
And the kings will have to respond by using the machines you found. And you,
they clearly have half of a key, but only half. And whatever his name was is dead now. He had the other half. That's how he kept power over them.
Do we need to get the other half to the kings? The city
is no. That's what I installed. The other half.
Oh, I see. And so they will be able to come down and put the sea serpent back to sleep or defend their cities?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, they'll be able to put
she
it back
seems
down.
Very casual about this. You will realize the logistics of this is that the other king has to come over from the other side, get over past the sea serpent to this side, and the two kings together have to work to put this down.
Threadless, my dear, aren't we bringing horrible danger to the people of this city?
Well, you just tell them to attack the castles.
I should tell you, he will probably... I cannot command this sea serpent. I could wake it.
Can you bribe it?
I don't know what it wants, but I mean, I can give it a suggestion. It might listen.
It would probably like to eat an army at some point. You could offer to call it when there's a delicious army for it to eat.
Yes, I suppose I could do that.
Yeah. You could offer, a partnership of sorts. You could. You just have to use your godliness, right?
Threadless, my dear, I think that we're reaching the edge of perhaps being the cause of mass deaths. And you remember when we talked at one point where I was a little concerned. I don't know if I want to cause mass deaths, Threadless.
I just think if you apply a little bit of imagination, you get whatever result you wanted.
Yes.
So you don't want a sea serpent to be among your, what's the word, vassals?
Smell of smoke and fire roiling down here to the docks.
Just seems like a good night for, I don't know, another minor disaster.
Minor disaster. Threadless, I think it would be wisest if the intent is what is the intent? To have them come and fix this problem and thus be cursed?
If the two of them get over here, they can fix it without being cursed.
Threadness, I can't in good conscience bring this sea serpent to destroy these two cities and the people within it.
She sort of stops and she goes, okay, missed opportunity.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you try.
Oh, Tassos, this is a delight. It's delicious. Around every corner, a new flavor of guilt, regret, and fear. You probably find a few of these Hesiarchs in hiding and then go, oh no, look who's over here. And then just kind of drink it in.
Start a little mini side mob here.
Yeah. As
quick
this
flash revolution there.
Oh yeah, this evil cult is hunted down through here, and it's dizzying in its shadows and darkness and flames and fire, and essentially it probably mostly ends with the city guard falling back to their stations. The soldiers falling back to the palace, the royal guards falling back to there, and basically them letting the people have their way all throughout the night.
I think as like Tassos's influence on the city, on this night, on this thing, being part of this crowd and this revolution, I think I want to. Can I spend my Dominion to basically make this like burn out the fear of shadowy, mysterious people using magic, burn out this fear of like dark, evil magic, where the city had turned against like any sort of kid or thing that showed weirdness to turn them into the Hesiarchs, like use this as an opportunity to change their mindset on.
It's interesting. I
magical
was going to
people.
say no at first, because of course what they're rebelling against is to their perception that kind of thing. But I think you're drawing on their kind of prejudice and so on, a different kind of fear. So yeah, if you want to commit to Dominion, because it's a city, you can do that.
Then yeah, I will, and I think it means that these like this night or however long the burning and craziness lasts, like it's really intensely turned against the Hesiarchs and the people that like were part of the whole thing, but doesn't get into the like doesn't spill over, doesn't go crazy.
Then write down a fact for Lonsena that they will fear no witches or something of that sort.
Cool.
Is it that they embrace it, or is it
they will never let them control them again?
Okay.
Never, they won't fear that. Then they won't turn against those kinds of people just because, right?
Yeah, it's not like it's not a paranoia that lingers with them, that they take the shame and the badness of this and use it as an opportunity to actively say that they should react to that differently.
So I assume, Ransom, that you and Threadless return to extricate Evedro and the children.
Threadless, whatever you wish to do. I won't speak for you, but yeah, I think I'm going back to Evedro.
Threadless, there's a lot of chaos here. There are some kings here.
I know. There's kings. Anyway. I would just be an assassin.
And you'll hear from beside you, essentially, Mineros. And what's wrong with that?
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that we have a very fine crew of assassins.
You can always send us back to clean up things here.
Oh, you've scouted, so
yes.
You kind of know the lay of the land.
Mm-hmm. And I assume you stole some treasures from the tower?
Absolutely.
Oh, good. Then it should pay for itself.
Still, I would have liked to see a sea serpent.
And I had 100% set the kids' expectations that Uncle Ransom was going to release a sea serpent. And so you all get back, they're like, what? They're so disappointed.
Where's the sea serpent?
My question exactly.
I'm sorry, I'll commit mass murder sometime in the future. Don't worry, I'll make sure you're all there then.
Did we change plans on the sea serpent thing? I was really banking on that as just a capstone for the evening.
Well, I'm more than happy for any of you to go diving if you wish. Kids, let's return to the boat.
They are relieved. Like as much as like, oh, we're going to get to see a sea serpent, they're also scared out of their wits.
Yes.
Not least of both because Tassos is roiling around in that, reveling in it, I believe is a good word for it. And I think we'll see all of you return back to the ship, and I think you can depart Lansena with your task achieved. Everybody can get a dominion for having overthrown a kingdom of sorts.
Yeah, not properly.
Yes. And everybody can get 3 XP.
Ooh.
That's a level.
Is that a level?
Yep.
Okay.
Takes us to 13.
Level 13. Wait, what?
What? No, 13 XP.
Oh, okay. So when you gain a level, you'll raise the level up. What's going to happen? This should be automatic. Is you should get your attack bonus up by 1. Your maximum hit points increased by 4 plus half your con mod. Your maximum effort and influence increased by 1. Your saving throws are going to decrease by 1. And you get to add a new fact related to your adventures. But perhaps most importantly, you get 2 more points to spend on words.
Yay.
Gift of Apotheosis at this level, you will get the ability to hear prayers, which means you're capable of hearing the prayers of the faithful. They're usually a subconscious thesaurus of petitions, but you can specifically listen for particular topics or people if you wish, becoming alerted when those topics arise or people address them. What was that for?
Oh, I was just thinking, I think if I listened for anything at my shrine, for instance, it would be if any of the assassins go and ask for fertility in the thing, that I would make sure to grant them that miracle. Otherwise, essentially it's sort of in the evening, then essentially I probably have like a dawn to dusk. So there's a thing of if it's not an assassin who comes, then I'll grant one of those wishes of luck or thing explicitly, like wah, kind of granting at some point to someone else each day.
Perfect.
Since I can listen.
And I think that when you get back, Ransom, there is the thing that Lesia will ask you about, like, what happened, what went on there, and she's just taken with wanting to hear the stories of this.
I will tell her, though, she may be beginning to know me well enough that I'm a little, she can tell I'm a little bothered.
Let us stop there. And we will, if you don't mind, do stars and wishes for the session. And is there everybody get all the add-ons and upgrades and things? Okay.
I think so.
Then let's do stars and wishes. Tassos, who was drunk deeply of the darkness.
That is.
There we go.
Still getting used to them. This was cool. I like this. I liked like nailing down and giving some definition to what we're each doing in the library. Sherry, I especially loved the idea of Threadless like unweaving these building fragments, like making sense of the fractured architecture in a way. That's very like grand and plays into part of the weirdness that I liked about the library.
Yeah.
I thought the raid was cool, and he was a very, very hateable villain, so that was nice. And I sort of enjoyed the weird character moment of like leaning into the violent revolution, which is not a character type I would normally play. Um, so I thought that was fun. Wishes, I'm still very interested in whatever has been tossing these evil god seeds out there to cause chaos. I'm sort of interested in like the chaos that we've left behind us, but I'm also just sort of interested in like walking away from Lon Senna while it's still sort of smoldering and not caring about it. And I want to make sure to interact with what's her name, Mask Lady.
No.
Nuan Lao.
Yeah.
I want to make sure to get in some time with her next time.
Okay. Tyler, let's come to you. I feel like one of the things we definitely want to do is we kind of got cut off from that scene got twisted a little bit. So I want to make sure that we can play into some of your desires at the start of next session. So I think that's important. But let me get your stars and wishes.
I thought the battle was fun and interesting. I liked the going up and taking him out. He was just horrible, so it was nice to deal with that. I loved the Evedro with the children on the tower. I thought that was hilarious. I liked seeing Tassos kind of all drippy, nightmare-y against the guards, and then kind of reveling in the horrors of this revolution. I enjoyed the tension between Threadless and I, who clearly have very different points of view. Because I think that for Ransom, there was very much we liberated these people. What they did on their own was their own to do. But there was a crisis of conscience that was brought up in that then me in particular unleashing something. And so having us have that tension moment, I thought it's good and interesting, and I think it builds character. Wishes, I'm looking forward to kind of hearing more about what created this, parasite guy. I that whole mystery seems very interesting and seems like a terrible thing for us to take on. I am all about trying to smite it, discover what's up with it, and see more of our home base. And I think that was fun. Oh, I love the Crocs as well. I love Mayor Croc. He is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite things from the Thousand Islands is the I've riffed on that because it's just so strong. Dan.
Yeah. What a nice mix of things this session was. Like, we started out sort of meta, just talking about kind of what we're affecting on the island. We zoomed into a battle, and then we kind of took almost a little step back and had some NPC interaction. I just love the overall flow of that, and just being able to kind of dip our toe into lots of different things. I'm loving that our pirate is the moral compass of the group. I just think that's perfect. And I'm glad, Tyler, that you suggested we go deal with Abdrahim. He was a very clear villain that clearly needed dealing with. So that was, I think, a really, really good idea. Tassos, I love your cat cult. And I actually want to see more of the rituals and things around. As a sort of newly minted cat person myself, like, I'm just excited to see what that could turn into, because on the one hand they care, and on the other hand maybe they don't so much. So Sherry, I was really hoping that Threadless would do something around the construction of the library, because I was thinking like making the library more efficient was something that Evedro also would want to take on, and you did it so much more interesting and better than I could have done. So I really, really loved that. My wishes, let's see. I am intrigued by this Empire of the Hours, and sort of how there's sort of a little bit of an alien culture from the one that we are used to. So I would be up for exploring, though I would not say we have to explore it. But that's my wish.
Okay. Sherry?
Let's see here. I mean, we did a ton of good things. I really loved the whole Dominion, essentially laying that in, and that process, and of everyone's first picks. The shrines were all pretty neat. So that will be cool to actually get that sort of idea of those things existing and being ongoing, I guess, like beacon of your presence even when you aren't there in some ways. So it's that set of ideas. And let's see here. Getting back to the city was sort of interesting to see what had changed and what they hadn't. I like the whole, like, yeah, they put some protections up, but they're expecting that we would come back at the same power, and just two guys or something. I don't know what the deal is. But clearly they had failed to take into account just that, don't have such a good time, but you're going to come back looking for a fight. You're going to come back with more stuff. I sort of like that when I pushed Ransom to do a thing, he balked. And he balked because his thing was that of course, which surprised Threadless, was that he couldn't control the sea serpent, which she of course assumes he can because he's clearly powerful enough. But the other thing is that his assumption was that she would just let it like kill regular folk, which was not, essentially to her, she's overconfident. She could keep those people safe. She's just going to make sure it was, so the castle folk go down though. And so there's just that kind of thing of that sort of weird, like even gods don't really know how to communicate well. So it's kind of
Awesome. Thank you all very much. I'm going to stop the recording here.
Doop.